Folks, it's clear there's a big problem here. I'll explain what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending September 3rd, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, in the description part, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. On our Sunday show, we brought up a comment that asked about Vaughan and $2 million properties in Vaughan, like how many. And in the show, on the Sunday show, we said we would talk about it today. So let me explain what's happening here. If you look at all the listings in Vaughan, 45% of all Vaughan listings, for detached properties only, 45% of all the listings are listed at $2 million or more. Let that sink in for a second. Almost half, 45%, are listed at $2 million or more. That's a huge percentage of all listings. So it's easy to think, wow, that's why the average sold price in Vaughan is so much higher. Not necessarily, because when we look further into that data and we look at how many of those that are listed at $2 million or more actually sell every single week, it's low. If we use this current week ending, September 3rd, less than 1% of all detached properties in Vaughan that were listed at $2 million or more actually sold. It's 0.4%. And when we look at all the other weeks, and shortly I'll show you the whole year on a chart, usually it averages out to be about 1% of all properties listed in Vaughan, detached properties that are listed at $2 million or more, about 1% every week actually sell. So if you got a property that is listed at $2 million or more, if you're either on the market or thinking of going on the market, wow, you've got some obstacles. Very, very few, on average 1% a week, actually sell. That percentage of sales is way worse than the condo market. And everybody just automatically understands the condo market is not doing so great. Well, if you've got a $2 million property or more listed for sale or thinking of listed for sale, the data for your sales is way worse than what's happening in the condo space right now. So if you're looking to sell a house at $2 million or more in Vaughan, you really need to be careful about your strategy because the market is not in your favor. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. York Region detached properties. That's all we're talking about here. Specifically, we're going to be focused on Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. Richmond Hill and Markham took a nosedive. Well, the last couple of weeks, prices have been coming way down. We're going to start off with Vaughan for week ending September 3rd. I've got to say, week ending September 3rd, the Labor Day long weekend was in there. And sometimes things get a little bit screwy when it comes to activity and volumes on long weekends. Not just Labor Day, any long weekend kind of throws things off sometimes. And if we're looking at Vaughan for week ending September 3rd, 13 detached properties were sold. Now that number seems low If we look at August, well, 33 seemed high, 20, 28, 23, 20, 13, we've not seen that. Just January was the only week we've seen 13 or less sales. So, yeah, maybe the long weekend has something to do with only 13 detached properties selling. One of those sold at $2 million or more. Let's look at average sold price. I've kind of scratched off the high and the super low over here. But for week ending September 3rd, average sold price for Vaughan is $1,644,000. That's for detached properties only. And when we're trying to pick, is to see a trend, which way a price is going. Let me just make it really clear. If we look at the spring market, we were high 1.6 to mid 1.7 or so. Well, that's not where we are today. 1,644,000 is the average sold price. It's pretty clear that average sold price over time, even though the individual weeks go up and down, over time, average sold price is lower right now. Versus the same week a year ago, it's a little bit higher. It's 5% higher. Well, no, it's not a little bit. 5% is about $80,000 or so. So it's 5% higher than the same week a year ago. The median price of $1,350,000 is 12% lower than the same week a year ago. 13 were sold, 2, so 15% sold at list price or more. And listings, 64 were listed. Active listings is coming down. And what I was speaking about at the beginning of the show, the amount of properties listed versus sold at $2 million or more. So for week ending September 3rd, $2 million plus listings, it's 259 of them, which is 45% of all listings in Vaughan. It's a crazy number. 45%, almost half of all listings are listed at $2 million or more, but only one sold, which is 0.4% of the $2 million plus listings actually sold. You really, really got to get your strategy right if that's your plan to sell at $2 million or more. Months of inventory way up there at 10.1 months of inventory. I imagine that'll come down a bit as we start to kind of get into normal weeks as we head into the fall. Here's Richmond Hill. For week ending September 3rd, only 10 detached properties sold. Average sold price is $1,394,000. Overall, average sold price has been going one way, the opposite of up. It's been going down. Compared to last year, 1,394 is 14% lower. The median price of 1,414 is 12% lower year over year. 10 were sold, 3 of those, so 30%. I think 30% sounds like a lot. Well, it's 3 out of 10 sold at list price or more. Active listings, we're seeing fewer. It is trending down, but it's not that aggressively trending down. 56 were listed, and months of inventory way up there at 12.6 months of inventory. This basically means that if we buy at the current rate that we're buying detached properties in Richmond Hill, and nothing else changes, no new properties come on the market, no new properties come off, we don't change the buying pattern that we're currently buying with right now, it'll take us over a year, 12.6 months, to completely sell out of all the properties currently available for sale. Here's Markham. For week ending September 3rd, 20 detached properties sold. Average sold price took a nosedive. It's at $1,370,000. And when I see numbers either really high or really low, I look into it just a little bit more. There was a lot of properties selling on the lower scale of value than on the more expensive scale side of things. But average price overall, I would say, has been trending down for Markham compared to last year. Oh, I didn't even say, did I say what the average price was? 1,370,000, which is 10% lower than the same week a year ago. The median price of 1,245 is 16% lower. And here's where you could see when I say there were more of the lower valued properties actually selling. You'll see it here in the median price. 1,245 was the median price, which is 16% lower than the same week a year ago. 20 were sold, 6 of those, so 30%, sold at list price or more. 63 were listed. Active listings, sure, we have fewer active listings, but not that aggressively trending down. And months of inventory, overall looks like it's trending up. We're now at 5.3 months of inventory for Markham. Here's a quick summary. We're pretty much in a buyer's market, although Markham, you're going to teeter-totter between buyer's market, balanced market. That's Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham detached properties. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.